This is Gene Watts, and this is Love in 60 Seconds.
We have been married for over 20 years.
And in that time, we have learned a few things that we'd like to share with you.
So if you're single, newlyweds, or seasoned in marriage, we think you will enjoy the upcoming program.
Absolutely. And we want you to like, engage, share, and do all of those wonderful things that we do on Instagram, Facebook, and every other social media outlets. Send us DMs. We want to hear from you.
This is
Love in 60 Seconds.
60 seconds. Love in 60. Love in 60 seconds. 60 seconds.
This is Frederick Watt.
Over again. Hey, there we go. Button was stuck. What's going on Facebook and YouTube? This is Frederick and Gene Watts, and this is Love in 60 Seconds. We're so happy to be with you guys this evening. We're live on Instagram, we're live on YouTube, and we're live on Facebook.
Yeah.
And tonight we're just going to get right into the topics. All right, we got a great topic tonight. As always, we appreciate it when you like and share this with somebody. And if you're watching it live, please chat with us and interact down below. Give us some hearts. Also follow us on YouTube at Wattsup Video.
Yeah.
So tonight our topic is, what is our topic tonight?
What is that?
How to read your marriage from A to Z. So
Yeah.
what does that mean?
Well, how to read your marriage. You want to get into some things and some topics. Hello, everyone. Some things, some acronyms, I guess, or some letters that kind of help to really assess your marriage and to make it stronger. Again, we're here all the time, every week, to just give you tools to make your relationship better.
Right.
There's a lot of things, and we're on here because there was a lot of things that nobody told us when we first got married.
Right.
Like we had to just figure it out,
Mhm.
and some of those times figuring it out was really hard, and we made some mistakes and we messed some things up. Some things didn't go right. So we had to figure it out. We had to pray it through, but we're here to try to help you not be so hard,
Right,
guys.
And tonight's topic is not just for marriage, but it's for all types
Relationship.
of relationships. So, hey, shout out to Dr. Tooks. We saw her say hi. It's always good to see you. So we're going to get right into it. And like we said, always, if you're on Instagram, we do see you. Always send us a wave. And if you're on Facebook, hit those hearts or interact with us on Facebook and YouTube. So we're going to go through A to Z. We're not going to get through everything tonight.
No, not tonight.
No, we're only going to be here 20 minutes, 15 minutes or whatever. But we think that these attributes are important as far as sharing, having a successful relationship.
Yeah.
And so please comment and let us know what you think.
Yeah.
So if you had to read your marriage from A to Z or to read your relationship from A to Z, one of the things that we talked about for A would be, the word would be acceptance.
Yeah.
And acceptance is the key. Right?
Yeah. Because, everybody, listen, I don't care how beautiful your relationship is and how your boo is everything, honey. I love him. That's my bae. That's my boo. You are going to not like something about that person. There's going to be something that is it's going to annoy you. It's going to bother you. It's going to, or it's just something that you would like to see different about that person, whether or not they're not as ambitious in certain things as you are, or they don't do things quite like you do, or your mama did, or whatever the case is. You're going to have to learn how to accept that person.
It reminded me of that one of the Martin episodes when he was talking about making his mama's biscuits, and and Gina was trying to make the biscuits like Martin's mother did, and it's funny because that can sort of be something if you are relying on your parents or a past, and don't accept the way your spouse cooks or express the way your spouse has a conversation or anything. If you don't bring that acceptance part into your relationship, then you're not allowing any room for growth.
Absolutely. So, like, for example, I just want to kind of, make it, relatable. So I'm a people person. I love talking to people. I could be around people for the most part, almost all the time. My husband much less a people person. Frederick's not so much. He likes people, but he don't have to be with y'all all the time.
Only child, me, 4 siblings. You, right?
Exactly.
Right? So
and yeah, 4 siblings, but cousins, and we got together all the time. So him, I don't want to change him because he's used to, kind of being, but I did have to kind of help him along in some things because we would have events here at the house, and my husband would go upstairs and go to the room. Frederick could go upstairs, go to the room and watch TV or answer emails, and we're having a full-fledged event at the house. Like, sir, you can't do that.
Right. And I have to accept when we're engaging or out places entertaining or doing that Jeannie's going to be more of a person that's going to engage, going to talk. And I might be like, okay, hey, I'm engaging too, but I'm also in the car ready to go.
Saying ready to let's go. But because that's one of the things. I'm sorry,
they said that Carmen said that's them.
Right, exactly. Right. But because I'm the type of person that I am, and because I like the type of person that I am, he doesn't try to change me. Now, earlier on, it was some problems. It was some dreadhead niggas in the lobby. Okay, can I say that word? Blacked it out. Anyways, it was friction, at first, but we learned the hard way to accept one another. Right. And accept those things.
And we're gonna be honest, I'm still accepting some things.
He's still accepting it sometimes,
and she's still accepting because if we take this to driving,
oh my God,
the way each other drive, we have to accept it because when I'm in the passenger seat, I complain a little bit more than I should, and when she's in the passenger seat, she complains a lot more than she should, but
not a lot more. If you just this close to the car and you flying, but you
we're not going to get into the attributes. But accepting your spouse,
he's hitting me up at the table.
It's the key. No, it's important. Yeah, it's important. So that's A, being able to have acceptance.
Yeah.
And B would be, as we're reading from A to Z, is giving the benefit or the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely.
So B is benefit.
Yeah, and that's a huge one, actually. Giving a person the benefit of the doubt. Don't always assume the worst about your spouse. Don't always assume their intentions were the worst, because sometimes people are misunderstood. That's the thing. That is a thing. Your spouse can be misunderstood. You can be misunderstood. So don't jump to conclusions. Give your spouse the benefit of the doubt. I have something here. Look for positives in what they are doing rather than the negatives in their behavior. So give them the benefit of the doubt. Perhaps they meant to encourage you when they said that your shirt was tight. To encourage you to go to the gym, or encourage you not to eat all the cake. I don't know, but and I'm being facetious there, but really, it's very important that you give your spouse the benefit of the doubt, because the majority of the time, and we have learned and we have found with so many of the couples that we talk to and that we connect with, is that they didn't mean to offend their spouse. Now, some people out there that's just mean, but they didn't mean to offend their spouse. They didn't mean to come across the wrong way, but they did. And then, and if you're not communicating well or haven't learned that part yet, it can just really build up to be something that's becomes a big problem. Yeah, so give your spouse the benefit of the doubt.
Very true. So how to read your marriage from A to Z, or your relationship from A to Z. C is one word that we use a lot, which is commitment. Commitment to each other in a relationship is really the key to healthy relationships.
Yes.
And so commitment means that, like the young people, or our term was ride or die. It's that, I'm with you, like what my vow said, good or bad, better or worse, all those things. I'm committed to the relationship.
Yeah.
And it's an institution that you have to believe in, because if you don't believe in being committed to the relationship, then you're easily able to say that I can be divorced, I can just quit because I'm not committed.
Yeah.
It's a word that takes an action, but it also describes something that's very important. It's very important that you apply the words that say you're committed by actions.
Absolutely. And that I 100% agree with that. And people, they always want the for better. They do not want to live through or walk through the for worse.
Right.
It's just the only for better. They don't want to do the poor. They only want to do the richer.
Right.
So they don't want to do the other part of it. But you said you would. You made a commitment. You said you would, but people do not want to stick to that commitment. Stick to your commitment.
Right.
Because if you stick to your commitment and you build your team dynamic, you'll get to the better, even if you're at the worst now. And you'll get to the richer, even if you are at the poor now. You know what I'm saying? And God bless you. Work together. You'll keep good health. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't, you'll be able to walk through life with that person and be able to connect and be okay. We love you too, Mother Jane. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? You'll be able to make that connection. You got to do it for better or for worse, guys.
Yeah.
People don't want that.
And so it's a fallacy to think that marriage is always perfect.
Yeah.
Because you're two humans and you're not perfect.
Yeah.
So if you're committed to the good and the bad times, it's going to make your relationship a lot easier.
It is. And if you stick with each other through the bad times, that makes your relationship so much stronger. It's not the happy times that gives your relationship depth. But it's the times that you go through those defining moments that make your relationship stronger. So
C for commitment. Let's see what somebody said. Thank you, Trina. Some good stuff. So a lot of times, as far as what would be next, is that you should be able to, and hold on for a second, you should be able to D, which is develop. And what do we mean by develop?
That's developing what we're talking about now, developing healthy skills and knowledge about your relationship. You gotta develop healthy tools, because otherwise you're gonna be in a house with a person and you're gonna be roommates. You're gonna be just disenchanted about your relationship. It's not gonna be as good. It's not gonna be as fun. It's not gonna be as sexy. It's not gonna be as saucy. It's not gonna be as spiritual. It's not gonna be as lovely, because you are just going through the motions. If you don't develop the tools to help you stay connected, we talk about it all the time. The person that you married is not the same person that you're married to right now.
Right.
It's a different person.
Right. No matter what the timeline is, years, months, days, or whatever.
Yes.
And so develop also means layers. It
Yeah.
means that where you started or where you began is not where you're going to end. So, the way that you reacted to the argument in your first 6 months of marriage might not have been positive, or the way you handled money or anything should be different than the way you're doing it 15 years later, because there's a layer, because you develop the right necessary tools to be able to handle situations.
Yeah. And again, if you do that, then you will stay out of the counselor's office. You'll stay out of the therapist's office, and you will be able to get through tough times. One of our friends who we refer some of the couples out to that need serious counseling. One of our doctors, he's full. We're the only people that can refer him any couples right now, because we've referred him couples, and we're mentoring couples, and he's full because people do not use what they have.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, you may not need these weekly checkups, but somebody needs them.
Right.
Tell them to look at them. We're not trying out here. We're not asking nobody for no money. We're not asking anybody We're just trying to help people get through it, and then get through it in a great and wonderful, rewarding way, because marriage is great.
That's right. All we ask is some hearts and likes, and for you to follow. So we appreciate you guys on Facebook hitting those hearts and likes, and you guys waving at us on Instagram.
Yeah.
And because of that, when you're developing things, one of the things that you need to develop is to be emotionally intelligent.
Yeah.
And what that means is that you should be able to understand your partner emotionally. Being able to discover how they handle emotions, and you need to know how you handle emotions.
Yeah.
For example, like sometimes my wife has interactions with our children that's different in the way that I have interactions with our children, and vice versa. And because of that, we all have to learn how to handle emotions, especially when our children are out the house, but especially when your children are in the home together.
Mhm.
You need to be able to understand how your spouse and get an emotional check in. And
Mhm.
then you need to understand where you need to go. If your spouse is handles anger differently, then when their anger at a child may be rising up, you may step in
Yeah.
to handle the
Yeah. To
situation.
be the buffer. Yeah.
Mhm. Because you have to understand how your spouse handles emotions.
Absolutely, you have to understand and how they handle emotions with each other. How you all handle emotions with each other. Again, it's and we're talking about whole families. Like when you raise a child, you can raise all of your children, same mom and daddy. All them jokers are different. All completely different people. They communicate differently. They're just different people. But you got to teach everybody, use your words, and even your spouse.
Right.
Use your words. Tell me what it is that you're feeling. Tell me what it is that you're. And then sometimes, people have so many things bottled up, and they don't really know how to tell you how they're feeling. So you have to be emotionally present enough, emotionally intelligent enough, and really just pray and pay attention to your spouse to learn how they handle emotions, whether it is love, whether it's anger, whether it's disappointment. If they're going through disappointing things on their job, are they depressed? You know what I'm saying? Are they dealing with depression? You can't be just like, oh, she in a mood. No, is she really depressed? Like, is there a clinical problem here? Or, even if she is just down in the dumps and it's not a clinical problem, she's going through something, help her to manage, or him to manage those emotions in a healthy way.
Like if you follow us on Instagram, I put a funny post up today about what a woman wants is like if she would love to have her man just take her one day and wrap her in her arms and throw her in the bed, look her deeply in the eyes and put her to sleep while he go clean up the house.
Exactly.
Because sometimes your spouse needs to be emotionally connected to you.
Yeah.
And if you're not emotionally connected to them by speaking their language today, be like, you know what, today I know that my wife might need some acts of service.
Yeah.
And that's being emotionally intelligent, not knowing that she needs, or that she might want some flowers, which is a gift.
Yeah.
Being able to identify what's most important.
Yeah.
So emotional intelligence is very important. But I think one of the key things to a successful relationship, and especially in marriage, is the F word of forgiveness.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah.
I think that was last week that we talked about forgiveness.
Yeah.
And there's such, forgiveness. Oh my gosh, that is such a, God, a loaded and layered word. There was a person who said that people that have been married a long time and that have happy relationships are just people that are good at forgiving. They're good at forgiving. And that is really true. If you're not good at forgiving, if you're not the type of person who is able to see yourself in the light of Christ, meaning that you were once forgiven or many times forgiven for whatever it is that you have done, because we're all sinners, saved by grace. We're all sinners and we've fallen short of God's glory. We all can come up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So there's things even in our relationship that we've had to look at each other and have compassion, have pity. There's sometimes you have to look at your spouse, even if they've done something really, really just disrespectful, just wrong. You have to sometimes take a step back and look at them and say, okay, am I going to allow this thing to destroy my spouse, him or her, our relationship, our family? Am I going to allow this to happen because they're being made a fool of, or they're making some bad choices? Am I going to allow that to happen? Because you got to look at that, but you got to be where you're not allowing that to happen, but that you're fighting for them.
Right.
You're fighting for them. And fighting for them is forgiveness. And that's another F word. You got to fight for them. Fight for your marriage, fight for your spouse. And also forgiveness and forgive.
And forgiving doesn't mean that you necessarily forget.
No.
And it's not a sign of weakness, because your partner really needs you to reconcile, to restore. And the only way that you can get through restoration is through forgiveness.
Absolutely.
So it's a very part of your relationship foundation to be able to forgive. You
Yeah.
know, and it's not weakness. You won't forget. You know, sometimes people deal with certain things, and then 10 years later it comes back.
Absolutely.
And you don't forget it, but you have the action and the choice to forgive.
Absolutely. And then not to throw it back up in that person's face
Right.
either. Sometimes you do have to, especially in the beginning of the offense, you may have to rehash it for closure for that person.
Mhm.
You may have to go over it a few times for closure because, you know, a wound takes time to heal. It doesn't just be like, oh, all right, we sewed it up. Even if it's sewn up and it's sutured and all of those things, it takes time for that wound to heal.
Mhm.
And it's absolutely, Carmen said that it takes so much strength to forgive. You have to be a very strong and a huge person to forgive an offense.
That's very true.
You absolutely do. So yeah, you got to do that. It takes God. You know, a lot of times it takes, you know, when you're pulling yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yep. She said, Carmen said, it's not for the weak.
It's not for the
It
faint
is
of heart,
not
baby.
for the
It is
weak.
not for the weak. Forgiveness is not for the weak.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell a lot of these young people, they ask me all the time, you know, oh, you know, why do you think we not married, or why? I'm like, because y'all too lazy
Yeah.
and self-centered. And no, you're not gonna
Yeah.
forgive nobody, and you're lazy. You don't want to
Right.
put the work in. That's why. Sorry.
Yeah. Like what Trina said, that it's the key
It's
to
the
longevity.
key to longevity.
That's
That's
very-
my friend Trina. She we went to high school together.
Oh, cool.
And we used to sing together. She's got one of the most beautiful voices ever in the world.
Awesome.
So she's an awesome woman of God.
Awesome. So we're almost wrapping up. We're
Yep,
gonna
gonna
just
wrap
get
up.
to H, and
Yep.
we're gonna call it quits for tonight. So when you're checking or reading your how to read your marriage or your relationship from A to Z,
Mhm.
we got G.
Yeah.
And G is giving.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just, there's so many biblical aspects that you can put in this, but
Yeah.
you got to give into your relationship.
Absolutely.
You have to be able to sow, because if you don't give, if you don't plant, there's not going to be any growth.
None.
There won't be any growth in your relationship.
Absolutely. The Bible says, given and shall be given unto you.
Yeah.
Pressed down, shaken
Shaken
together, running
Mhm.
over, shall he cause men to give into your bosom. Okay, so there's a bunch of different translations of that. But give.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And it shall be given unto you. And that is also reciprocated within that relationship. And sometimes you're the only one giving in a marriage. You're the only
Mhm.
one, the
Mhm.
onlyest one, as my grandmother would say, the onlyest one giving. But as you give, God will allow that to come back to you, because that's God's law. You know,
Mhm.
given it shall be given.
Right.
Period. It's going to happen. But you know, not to your own detriment.
Right. not
But you
to
want
your
to
own.
give, but you want to give and be a giver. We want to outgive the other person.
So we had somebody say, what's the purpose of remembering if you've chosen to forgive, God throws our sins into the sea of forgetfulness? Well, God throws our sins into our seas of forgetfulness, but we still remember.
Absolutely.
You know, and so, you know, forgiveness is your choice to do that, and it's part of that what you need to do, but it doesn't mean you're not going to ever forget.
Yeah, because
but
we're human.
We're human, but what you do when you remember, especially in relating with your spouse,
It is how you remember.
is how you remember, and then also how you forgive. Don't just because you forgive somebody doesn't mean you're not going to forget the offense.
Yeah.
And then
It'll be less in your
be
mind over
less in your
time.
mind over time, but you're human. So forgiveness and forgetting is two different things.
Absolutely. Forgetting is more difficult because of our human nature.
Yeah.
You know, it takes time. You know, there's certain things that you won't remember as much as time goes on. It won't be as
It
fresh
heals.
in your mind. And then
It
there'll be
heals
some
on-
things that will trigger it, and you want to just be like, smack
Right,
with your
right,
hand and say to the
right.
face. Slap. You know what I'm saying? You want to,
Right.
but you, in those moments, you have to exercise restraint.
Mhm.
Because you have forgiven. You
Yeah.
made the choice to be. Forgiveness is giving up your right to be angry.
Yeah. That's
You have a
very
right
true.
to be angry. You
But
could
you
be
give it
angry, but you give up that
Yeah,
right to
yeah,
be angry,
yeah.
and you surrender it. Again,
Yeah.
it's easier to do when you look at yourself as the offender, even if you've been offended, as you look at yourself in the light of what Christ did for
Mhm.
us.
Yeah.
Because while we were yet sinners and didn't want God, Jesus still died for
Right.
us.
So as we related, which we talked about earlier, how God relates marriage to us as a bride and,
Yes.
and as relationships and all those things. When you're dealing with forgiveness, if you take that concept of how God looks at us,
Yeah.
how he sent a husband to come get his bride,
Yeah.
to come get the church, how he redeems us. When you're dealing with forgiveness, it's easier to use that process when you look at it through that way. And hey, we're faith-based. That's what we believe. And that's how we counsel. That's how we teach. So that is important when you're dealing with forgiveness. And it's something that it happens over time.
Yeah.
And so getting back to giving, one thing about giving, the G word, or giving in your relationship, is that you, in a healthy relationship, you still don't give so much that you neglect your own mental or physical health, right? What you want to do, but you want to find ways to let your spouse know you appreciate them.
Yeah.
And that's giving your time, giving effort. I mean, there's
giving your money.
Giving your money. Hey, it is. It's true. But there was a time where we struggled. We didn't have any money. And we were struggling.
Yeah.
I mean, but
not a lot of it anyway.
But giving where I could give.
Yeah.
If I didn't have money to take you out to, I don't know, the steakhouse,
Yeah.
I had enough giving you romance to say, let's walk around the pond, or let's do something that you enjoy, or giving to our family, so you have attention, all those things. There's a lot of ways to give in your relationship. And a lot of times we talk about knowing each other's love language and how people receive love and how they understand and accept things. So that's what we're talking about when we say giving your time, giving effort, giving your love, giving attention to your spouse.
And then also going back to being emotionally present, because it kind of connects with this too. There are seasons where your spouse may not really, they may need you more to be more giving. There's seasons where your spouse may need you to be more giving. And in those seasons, you have to be emotionally present, understand that, hey, okay, this person needs, or my spouse needs me a little bit more in this way. But you gotta be discerning of that. Right. If they're going through a trial, if they're going through on their job, if they're going through a physical ailment, going through with their family, or they're having issues with your children, and just really it's affecting them deeply. You have got to be present and be like, oh, okay, wait, there's some other things happening here. I need to be more giving. I need to pay more attention. I need to be more loving, more kind. Right.
So wrapping up tonight for our topic, how to read your marriage from A to Z, we're going to stop here at H. And H is something that's sort of, I think is important. And
it is very.
Is that in a relationship, especially in marriage, but it can be in a relationship, you need to have humility.
Yes, definitely.
Why is humility important?
Humility is super important. You want to have the spirit of preferability. It's actually 2 H's that we're going to address, and then we'll be done. But humility, you want to have the spirit of preferability. There's, you don't have to be right all the time, even if you are right. You don't have to be right, even if you are right. Sometimes it is better to humble yourself and allow space for that person's expression. And then you verbalize your expression as well. But sometimes it's appropriate and it's in order to humble yourself and allow your spouse to have that space.
Right. Humility also allows you to find better solutions to issues or problems that you may have.
Yeah.
Because if you think, what, I know how to handle the money, I'm going to do that. But no, maybe your spouse can do it better. Or I know how to, communicate, so I don't need to listen. No, humble yourself so that you can learn something, or that you can better your situation, and not going into a full stream. And really that's saying not looking at yourself and finding your flaws and being able to fix them to better yourself for your spouse.
Absolutely. And the other H, and we're going to wrap this up, is humor. Even when we had our anniversary, 25th anniversary party, we had a number of couples, and we had them to be covenant couples with us because they represented certain things that we wanted to make sure that we always kept in our relationship. We asked them to pray that God would continue to give us those things in our relationship. And one of them was humor. And that was the Tatums. They were human because every time they're just great people, and they keep us laughing. And I think they keep each other laughing, even when they go, we've seen them go through things and go through transitions and hard things, but never seen them not have a joyful spirit or humor. He could be on the bottom of the ground and she could be on and they will find something to laugh about in that moment. And so you got to be the same way in order. And they've been married for a long time, a little bit longer than us. But they look youthful because they laugh. It keeps the joy. It keeps the youth. You know, it keeps all of that. It keeps the joy in your relationship. So learn to laugh with each other. Do not go through life. And I've seen other couples that you can tell they don't laugh with each other. They don't enjoy each other's company. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, you got to have that humor. I don't know what you have.
We'll get those next weeks.
No, I'm in the humor.
No, that's ill laughing. So
Oh.
yeah. So no. So, but that's perfect. You know, you have to be able to be humble and you have to be able to have humor. Like one of our friends or the Facebook user said, it makes your life more enjoyable. It does. It makes your life more enjoyable. It makes your relationships more enjoyable.
Yeah.
So we're going to stop there tonight.
Yeah.
We hope that you have enjoyed us as always, and thank you guys for tuning in on Instagram. We see you, but on Facebook and YouTube. If you like to replay, this is episode 87, I believe. We're getting up there. So we have almost 2 years of teaching. Follow us on Instagram at Wattsup Entertainment. Follow us on Facebook on our Facebook page at Wattsup Entertainment, or follow us on YouTube at Wattsup Video. And please like and share.
Absolutely. And that share is important because we don't have enough hours in the day to kind of mentor the couples that have reached out to us that we want to help and that we have been helping, you know, adding couples all the time. And they don't come on the live, seems like, but they come around after, and that's okay. But share these with people that, you know, couples that are in trouble or are not in trouble. You know, look at these so you don't get in trouble, or that you learn. I think a couple of weeks ago, we talked about putting the fire out when it's just a small fire. So that you can learn how to put those small fires out, and so that you're not looking at your house burn down. Learn to use these tools in relationships before you get to the worst part or the hard part or the worst, and you can stay more connected to the better.
Right. So, hey, this is Frederick and Gene Watts. This is 1160 seconds. I'm trying to think if we see you next week. Maybe
we might. We might try to see you. We're going out of town.
We'll pre-record something. But thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Well, guys, we have to wrap it up this evening. We really hope that you've enjoyed our conversation.
Yes, this conversation has been amazing, and we want you to tune in again next time so that we can discuss more of these amazing topics and these topics of interest. Then don't forget to DM us, contact us, reach out to us, and we will definitely respond back.
This has been 1160 Seconds. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
All right, good night, everybody.